Simple idea today. Nostalgia is poor. What do I mean by that? Well, I was taking a road trip up along the coast of California, and you see on the side of the road next to the coast a lot of different vans parked. Obviously, people were traveling with friends, family, and I realized, I've seen a lot of vans. Some were Mercedes Sprinter vans. They're very luxurious vans, expensive vans, very cool vans right now. But what really caught my attention was the old vans, the ones that were 20, 30 years old that were probably converted inside so they're a little bit more livable. And if that reminds you of Little Miss Sunshine, maybe because they're onto something. It's not the new vans, the cool vans, the rich vans, expensive vans that make you nostalgic. It's the old vans. Nostalgia. We say, remember when? It's always referring to a time past when you were poor. You may say that, well, when you're younger, you're more likely poor, as many people grow richer as they get older. But that's not necessarily true for me. I'm poorer now because I don't have a job than I was before. Plus, I've had lots of fancy travels in the past, and they're not particularly nostalgic. I remember them, not necessarily every detail. They were good times, like going to the Maldives. But it's not the same feeling as when I was poor and just trying to get by when I had budgetary constraints. I think about trips to England. So one trip I took with my friend, we lived a fancy life. We went to a place called the Roast. It's quite pricey, but it's the only place to get a roast because it wasn't Sunday. And I was wearing a white shirt and, sort of leather jacket. I was looking pretty cool. And then there was another time that we went to Fortnum & Mason for afternoon tea. It was very fancy. It all had beautiful decor, very classy environment. I remember those things, but they don't bring back the same feelings as when I went with another friend and we were traveling in a Opel cheap car, taking a road trip. We stayed in a bed and breakfast because it was cheap. We were outside caught in the rain because we didn't have an umbrella in Oxford and it was basically pouring. Yeah. Or when I went to Germany with another friend and we rented a Opel and it was 1.0 liter. I was driving stick shift and I stalled going up the hill because apparently the engine's too weak to be in second gear. We couldn't get up to speed on the Austrian Autobahn versus the times I rented a Porsche and just had a marvelous time blasting away. So, which one is more nostalgic? It's not when I was rich, when I was doing the fancy stuff. It's when I was poor and did stuff not because I wanted to necessarily, not that I would have done this thing if I had all the money in the world, but because I didn't have all the money in the world, I had to choose. I think it's because creation of memories isn't necessarily about a good memory, quote unquote. Memories are about memorable stuff. And more often than not, being poor gets you more into those situations than being rich. That's why nostalgia, if you were to characterize it as a person, would be poor. So maybe it's not bad to do stuff to create memories when you're poor. Because in the future you'll look back and remember, nostalgia is poor.